Hey, good morning. Welcome to Hobby Evolution, episode 1139. Did a little shave this morning. Yes, I'm still congested. Welcome to Hobby Evolution. Listen to my voice. Congested. A little early. Hey, earlier. We're an hour earlier than our previous NyQuil hazes. And I think I woke up this morning and it's like, whoa, wow, it's only 7:15, 7:30. And I'm like, I must be feeling better. And then I quickly realized, nope, I'm still really congested. But I realized the reason why I woke up earlier. I took the NyQuil earlier last night. So that stuff works like, I haven't been falling asleep fast with it, but I think it's because I'm out of my element. I'm sleeping in the basement. So I'm out of my element. And, but once I do fall asleep, I'm out. And I'm out until I wake up. So hopefully I'm like on the downward because it's Wednesday. Today's Wednesday. It's Topps Big League release day. I haven't checked. I hope my case of Topps Big League is on a truck, a UPS truck. It was scheduled to be delivered today. Let's go to the UPS app. Today we're going to talk about my Cubs collection. Oh, come on. End of day today. Blowout cards always gets it to you on release day. It's processing at 7:27. Processing at the UPS facility, Middleton, which is just a couple miles down the road from me. So I'll have a case of Topps Big League. Those singles, with the exception of the Cubs, will be available in my eBay store. Let's throw that banner up. There you go. 7 or more, 25% off at checkout. 99centcards.com. So I won't do any live rips because it's Big League. Excuse me. Now I've got a cough. It's Big League, and I won't bore you or I with an online live rip of Big League because it's kind of a boring rip. Maybe I'll do like the first couple packs. Maybe I'll do like a pack rip or 2 packs. Just kind of a short form video. Maybe that's what I'll do. That's the ticket. So Topps Big League, I'll have that hopefully this afternoon, and I'll be ripping and flipping and hopefully get those into my eBay store starting tonight or tomorrow. So yeah, it's Madison Card Show week also. This Saturday, I'll see you at the Sheraton Hotel, John Nolan Drive. Show hours 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Free admission. And it is a sold-out show, 175 tables, 3 ballrooms. We've got the State Street Ballroom that we added last month, along with the Williamson Ballroom, both of those on the first floor. And then upstairs on the second floor, we've got the Capitol Ballroom and the mezzanine. So that's this Saturday. Sheraton Hotel, John Nolan Drive. I'm going to show off some Cubs cards later this morning. Oh. Because I'm getting closer and closer to 1 million. I'll have a new count at some point this week. And then I expect to hit it next week. And I'll tell you where. Dan's in the house. What's going on, Dan? Dan, I think you were sleeping when we discussed our little TV talk yesterday. I don't know if you watched or listened to the replay, but I asked about screen time because it stemmed from the Stacey Keenan, Christine Lakin podcast, their 3rd episode. They were talking about an episode of Step by Step where Carol made some rules, and one of the rules was only 6 hours of TV time per week. And both Stacey and Christine were like, that's a lot. And then they started thinking like, wait, when I was a kid, like I always had the TV on. And a lot of it was background. So that's what we discussed yesterday. I had like no screen, screen time in the 80s and 90s wasn't even a word or words that you used. TV time, I guess, was. We did not have screen time. Steve's in the house. What's going on? It's a bummer. And it's funny. I commented on a photo that he had retweeted of our friend Rich about the moving truck outside of Sloan Park. Spring training has come to an end. And for Steve, that's a bummer because Steve lives out in Arizona. See his thumbnail? There he is outside Sloan Park. And I get it. Like, I get both emotions. Like, for most of us, the moving truck at spring training is a sign of happiness and joy, because that means the baseball season is ready to begin. Opening day is around the corner. But if you live in Arizona, Steve went to what, 26 spring training games this year? That's Disney World for a kid for an entire month or 6 weeks. So I get it. There's raw emotion on both sides of it. Because it is bittersweet. When I leave spring training, it is bittersweet. However, this year it was like I was ready to go. 90% of our group was already gone. And it was just, you could tell it was getting near the end of spring training. I had been there for 7-8 days. I was tired and needed a detox. Mother Nature helped with the detox. You're going to eat chicken noodle soup and drink a lot of water for the next week. We're going to give you this head cold. So I get the emotions going both ways. Because vice versa, like when Steve sees the moving truck outside of Wrigley Field in preparation for spring training, he's all giddy. And actually, I probably am too. But it's like, that's the signal to the end of the regular season, I guess. Well, if they're going out, I guess to the end of the season, because then Steve's like, oh, it's the end of the season, only a couple months away from spring training. Art Green's in the house. Good morning. Day off from work, crushing out some listing and shipping before heading off to Chicago for the weekend. Enjoy. That sounds like fun. I was crushing it last night on shipping because I want to get ahead, because I want today, this afternoon, once big league comes. So I'm going to hammer away at more shipping this morning, because when that big league case comes, like, I want the next 24 to 36 hours to be dedicated to ripping and listing, and then try to get a hammer down on some shipping, because basically Friday is going to be Friday afternoon through Sunday morning is nothing but Madison Card Show. So I need to get all caught up on shipping so I can hammer down big league ripping and listing, and then do another little spurt of shipping, and then Madison Card Show time. So that's the plan. And I don't know if I'm going to be this weekend, if I'm going to be buying anything. I don't know. I don't know if I'll treat myself to CUBS. I don't know if I'll be looking for bulk. The funny thing is, the Madison Card Show, for me and what I buy, from a dealer standpoint, now I get a lot of people that come in and I do parking lot deals and that sort of thing. But from a dealer standpoint, I really don't, these days, I haven't bought much inventory from dealers. I'll cherry pick and stuff like that, but I don't buy a lot of bulk from my Madison dealers, which is kind of surprising, and even surprising to me now that I think about it. Like, that would be like your number one source, but most of my inventory comes from other shows that I'm set up at. And I think probably part of that, the reason why, is the Madison Card Show, like, I'm running all over the place. I don't really have time to do deals. Like, especially now with 3 rooms, like, I'm just bouncing all over. So that's probably at another show, I have the ability to at least walk around and, at my own pace. So that's probably why. Max says, go live and do a box or two. Everybody likes different stuff. I'll do a few packs. I'm not going to do a whole box, because big league it's a boring rip. And I'll do like a few packs. Maybe I'll do like 5 packs. A box is excessive. Anything more than that, definitely. I don't even like ripping a box of like fun stuff on camera. I don't know where it was. I don't think it was here on Hub. It might have been just in a chat. I think it was it was in one of my group chats. And somebody did a break last week, and it was a fun product. It was Bowman Inception. And they mentioned, like, I don't like breaking because I want to keep all the cards. And I'm like, I don't like breaking because I don't like I'm happy selling all the cards, but I just don't like breaking on camera. Like I find it annoying. I like to rip. When I rip, I like to do it at my own. Like I don't want to, have to, oh, boom. Look at this auto. Like I don't want to, and you don't have to do that, but I don't want to play for the camera. I don't want to, like, I want to take a break. Like I like going at my own pace when I rip product. Now with Big League, there's really not much. Like it's going to be basically straight ripping. But like with Bowman or even like Tops, if you get a hit or, you'll look up, oh, what's this comp at? And I like to do that. Like I'm not going to be breaking on camera and be like, oh, here's a autograph. I'm going to go comp this right now. You can't do that. You can, but you don't. So I like doing it at my own speed. Sometimes if it's like for a more funsy rip, I like sitting down on the floor. I'm a floor sitter, floor ripper, and, turning a game on or whatever and ripping. Oh, this is a cool card. Comp it, go to the next one, have a beer, and that. So I hate ripping on camera, so I don't do it that often. Brian, good morning. I am back amongst the living. I missed you all. Welcome back. Welcome back. He's excited for the 1 millionth. Do you know what it will be? I do not know. I know when it will be. By the way, you're going to have to listen to me blow my nose because we're not going to go through yesterday's debacle where I had it on mute for 13 minutes. Make sure it's not on mute. I know when it will be. I know where it will be. I know how it will be, but I don't know what it will be. Max says you're a few days early. Easter is Sunday. But Brian laughs. Nolan Ryan has autos in 2024 Big League. Let me know if you pull any. Well, let me tell you, the odds on pulling autograph in Topps Big League is like insane. I don't know I wonder what the odds are, but there's no guarantees in Big League. So it's not like you get one autograph per box. Topps Big League Baseball. Here we go. I don't know what autograph. Big League autographs. Holy crap. There are 3,000 Big League autographs. I don't know if there's 3,000 that opening. I don't know what that can't be 3,000 different autographs, but 3,000 total autographs sounds too small of a number. Let's see. Hobby distributor packs. I think that's got to be what we're getting. So one in 8 boxes. So that's not terribly bad. So on average, there's 20 boxes in a case. So on average in a case, so I'll likely get 2 like we're going to play the under. I'll get 2 autographs in the entire box. That's or in the entire case. So 1 autograph every 8 boxes are the odds on Big League. And then that's just Big League autographs. Then there's let's see. I thought there's a let's go insert. I thought there was another autograph. Maybe it was opening act autographs. Those are 1 in 4. But opening act, I think those are rookies. 1 in 4 boxes. So that's like 5 per case. Opening act autographs. So actually might get like 7 or 8 autographs total in a case between the two. JW, good morning. Cardboard Prospector. I saw on Twitter Mark McGwire was with the prospects at spring training. Biesterfeld and Down on the Farm had some cool picks. Did you see who had the first pick of Mark McGwire in a Cubs uniform? That's me. Here's the story behind Mark McGwire at spring training. So we were on the backfields, and I see a guy. I had heard somebody say, I think Mark McGwire's here, which is not so. Mark McGwire's son, Mason McGwire, is a prospect, is a pitching prospect in the Cubs organization. He's probably going to start in low A Myrtle Beach this year. And so Mark McGwire has been at spring training in the past and in Arizona Complex League. So it's not surprising for Mark McGwire to be there. What was surprising, though, was that Mark McGwire was not standing around with the other parents in street clothes, but he was in the dugout in Cubs gear. Somebody earlier had said, I think Mark McGwire's here. So I'm looking in the crowd. Like my head's always on the swivel because you never know what you'll see on the backfields at spring training. So my head's kind of on a swivel. The game starts. It's like, I don't think it was a minor league. I think it was just a sim game. And I'm looking around, and all of a sudden I see this guy peering out at, like, he's standing halfway out of the end of the dugout. And I'm like, that looks like Mark McGwire. So I have my shitty telescopic lens for your cell phone, which I, again, used like one day. I'm going to have to invest in a camera or something. But anyway, so I get the telescopic lens. I zoom in. I get a couple shots, really shitty shots. And Rich was back there with me. And so I went up to Rich and I'm like, hey, who is this? And Rich is looking and he goes, and he didn't say anything. And I said, is that Mark McGwire? And he goes, I was thinking it looked like either McGwire or Rick Sutcliffe. And I'm like, I know it's not Rick Sutcliffe. So Rich has a real camera. So Rich gets his telescopic lens, his lens, and he takes a picture and he goes, that's Big Mac. So the first picture that I took, I had tweeted out, and that's what everybody was tweeting out. It was on like the blogs that day. I think it was the second day that I was out there, last Wednesday. And I actually got a photo. Where do I probably have it? It's right here. So the next day, so McGwire did not, I think that he may have signed autographs and taken some photos after that game. And then the next day he came out, and it was kind of a small crowd. And I was able to get a photo with him. So there he is, Mark McGwire in Cubs gear. How about that? So I had printed that off down there. I wanted to get it signed, but I didn't get it printed until Monday. And I left on Wednesday. Monday was a complete off day. Tuesday was AA, AAA, so he wouldn't have been there. And I don't even know if he was still down there the next week. He might have only been there for like that week when that picture was taken. So yeah, Mark McGwire on the backfields. Brian Bourne says auto and inserts. Orlando, what's going on? Max says you did like 2 boxes of the worst set to rip, didn't you? Flagship. There's a difference between Topps flagship is the worst to like rip on camera, but at release it's like opening day. It's opening day for baseball cards. The Series 1 Topps is opening day for baseball cards. So that's the difference. So I can open Series 1 on camera, and I only did 1 box. And I had to like power through that because it's a boring rip. Let's see. Max says, don't do the boom stuff. Such a huge turnoff. Boom! Let's go! Good morning, Red Light 34. JW says, and did you see the message from eBay about FedEx? I did not. I don't ship with FedEx. In fact, I rarely ship with UPS, although UPS is pretty easy to use. And if you're doing like heavier stuff, it's probably best to use UPS instead of the post office. I actually sent like just a package, but I put it in a box because I know how they're treated at UPS. I had somebody that wanted, I think it was for spring training autographs. He ordered like 40 cards. And he's like, I'll order, X amount of cards if you can ship them UPS and if they can get to me. And normally I don't, like, if somebody wants a $2 card, like, I need this by Wednesday, I'm like, don't buy it because you're not going to get it. But if it's for like a $50 plus order, yes, I will make things work for you. And I'm like, I can do this if you pay the shipping. Like, I'll, get the estimate. Okay, it's going to be $10, and I shipped it UPS, and it got there in the time that it was supposed to. So, but I would not use FedEx. Harlan, good morning. Red Light says, did you get your case of Big League? I will today. It's hopefully it's getting processed right now. So hopefully it'll be on a delivery truck this morning. I think UPS usually comes around right around lunchtime in my neighborhood. So hopefully early afternoon, I'll start ripping. Bronco had a break on last night, and it seemed like there were about 4 autos per case. Oh, interesting. Of Big League. Okay. 4 autos per case. Ooh, okay. That seems a little less on total than the odds. But yeah, I know that Big League is not a very hit-friendly product, which is okay. Brian says, you had the first pick of Big Mac in a Cubs uni. That's some bragging rights. Yes. JW, are you going to make that picture of Mark McGwire into a card? I'd like to get one if you do, for my PC, of course. So the picture I took is shitty. The good pictures were taken by the real photographers. Mine was the first, but it wasn't the best. Depending on our draft this year, we may see some other father-son MLB duos at camp next year. So who are? I actually read a mock draft yesterday. I read a mock draft yesterday, but I don't think I recognized any names, at least first-round names. Who are some of the father-son duos that are draft eligible this year? This is always, I love the MLB draft, and I usually never know any names until like we get there, and it's like, oh, this is Matt Holliday's kid. This is Mariano Rivera's son. This is Mark McGwire's kid. And then it's cool. Like, once you make those connections, then it's fun. JG thought it was Chet Steadman. There you go. Brian says, my photographer friend always makes a ton of money when he has the first pick of a big name player in a New Jersey. He made bank when Westbrook went to LA. Nice. Victor says, let's get Sammy back. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. So I'm confident Sammy Sosa and the Cubs will reunite at some point in the next year. And I would put money on it. It happens this year, and he comes back to Cubs convention, and Sammy gets a reunion with the Cubs at Cubs convention. That's my prediction. That's my prediction. Where are we at? Cooter says, I would rather watch you on mute than watch someone open cards online. I am, it depends on the like, normally I'm not into break. Like, normally I don't care about watching breaks unless it's a product that I'm curious about, that I want, if I want to get into a Cubs break, I want to watch other breaks, see what they are, what's the ratio. But no, I really, honestly, I don't even watch breaks that I buy into for the most part, depending on who it is. If it's with real breaks, I'll watch because, I know the guys. But if it's with some rando on eBay, and it really annoys, and sometimes it just annoys me more, because there was one break I was in and the guy was talking about NBA, like, who's your favorite? It's kind of like watching a hobby show in the morning, and the guy just talks about TV and what he ate for dinner last night. So the guy's talking about NBA, and I'm like, what the hell? It was like Elite Extra Edition, so I get it. But it was like, for me, like, I want you to talk about the cards that you're pulling, not the NBA, which I don't even care about. So like I think the last break I bought into, I didn't even one of the last break, it was last year's Elite Extra Edition. I pulled a 1 of 1. Didn't even know it because I didn't watch the break. So I opened up the mail. It's like a surprise. And some people are like, I'm just overly accepting of people, or how I am trusting. I am overly trusting with people. Like other people would be like, oh, you've got to watch your break. What if they steal cards from you? And it's like, are they really? They might. But my Elite Extra Edition, I won a Nazier Moulet. And it was 1 of 1. I think it was a non-auto Elite Extra Edition. So that's a nice little surprise. You get a surprise in your mail. I wonder what I pulled. Like I bought into I think it was like Triple Threads or something. Panini Triple Threads, Cubs break. And I think I accidentally bought into a Kevin Alcantara player break. I thought it was a team break. Thankfully, it only went for like 10 or 15 bucks. Because I think I had bid like 100, like team breaks were going for like 100. And I like put my high bid in 100. I'm like, oh shit, that's Kevin Alcantara player break. So it went for like 10 or 11 bucks, I think. And I actually, in a player break, it's like, you might get skunked. And I didn't. Like I had a notification. I'm like, well, I wouldn't receive a shipping notification if I didn't hit anything. And all of a sudden I get in the mail and it was like a jumbo Kevin Alcantara jumbo relic. Was it worth 10 bucks? Probably not. Probably a $5 card, maybe. I don't know. $5 at a card show. Like on eBay, you're probably paying 10 bucks because it's $5 plus $5 shipping. Tiger says, I didn't realize until, he's going to finish his thought. I didn't realize until last night that Eric Karros' son, Jared, is in the Dodger organization. I didn't realize that either. The more you know. Brian says, your mic is great. Can't hear you blow your nose at all. Being serious, not sarcastic. Excellent. Well, good. Means you don't have to hear me blow my nose, and I don't have to put my mic on mute and then leave it on mute for 13 minutes. Cooter's waiting for Sammy Sosa to reconcile with the Tulsa Drillers. There you go. What's up? Dystemic in the house. Good morning. Orlando says, is your 1 millionth Cubs card going to be Cap Anson, or is that a secret? Thought I heard you say it would be him. Well, here's the thing. So, my plan was for Cap Anson to be the 1 millionth card. Plans can change. So I honestly don't know what my 1 millionth Cubs card is going to be. It's going to be gifted to me. So I don't know what it is. Now, will Cap Anson be a card that I add? It's kind of going to be like a celebration if I can find one. That's the key. I want, and it gets more and more difficult because I need to find a low grade, affordable Cap Anson card, which not easy to find. Just finding one in general is not easy. Although there was one, I think, on REA, and the auction may have ended already. I think it was REA. Let's just check. It might have been the auctions that ended this past Sunday. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure it was. Can you see? I'm not familiar with. Yep, prices realized on the most recent. Let's type in title here. Why don't we just share the screen so you're not watching me play on the computer? Share screen. So there we go. Here, we don't need to look at me. There we go. All right. So Robert Edwards, type in. Oh, we need to search for Cap Anson. No results found. Well, maybe it wasn't Robert Edward auctions. Huh. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure it was the March auction of whatever it was. Okay, so let's just type in Cubs. See what Cubs. Do any of these ring a bell to me? I don't think so. Oh, Sammy Sosa signed jersey. Sold for $48. Wow. 1938 Cubs Yankees World Series Game 1 ticket stub sold for 156. Jesus. These are cheap. 1956 Cubs schedule advertising sign that sold for 450. Wow. I totally would have paid $48 for a Sosa signed jersey. I totally would have paid 156 for a ticket stub. What's this? Cubs yearbook and picture pack collection. Oh, wow. That only sold for 90. Does it have that's pretty cool. Oh, and there's the pictures. Wow. So it wasn't Robert Edward. I wonder what auction house it was. There was a Cap Anson on. I wonder if it was Heritage. All right. Bear with me. This is what we do on Hobby Evolution, Heritage auctions. I bet it was Heritage. Let's just type in Cap Anson. There it was. Okay, so there I know this was up. So this was a PSA 7. I predicted this would go 6 digits. 6 figures. Was it realized? Oh, this is a preview. Oh. Okay. Can I find past auctions, closed auctions? Oh, wait. No, this doesn't look like a. Here's some stuff. Old Judge Charles Comiskey. Flippovision. That's pretty cool. Unopened pack. Possible. Marilyn Monroe. All right. So that's not what it was. Huh. I could have swore it was. I thought it was Robert Edward, but there's some cool stuff. See, now I'm down the rabbit hole looking up some really cool 1938 World Series Game 2 ticket stub. There's a SGC 2.5 Ernie rookie. All right, all right. I can't find it, so yeah, they're not easy to find. Down on the farm says Prince Fielder's son is in the draft this year. Gary Sheffield, Dominic Caminiti. Oh yeah, I have heard of Caminiti. Manny Ramirez, David Ortiz, some of the names with sons draft eligible. Wow. That's like a who's who. That's a who's who. Now, is Dominic Caminiti Ken Caminiti's son? When did Ken? I thought Ken had been. I thought he passed away a lot longer ago than to have a son that would be draft eligible. When did Ken Caminiti pass away? 2004. Okay, so if his son was born in 2003, that would make him college age. Interesting. Dystemic, fighting that horrible flu going around, having to hurry to the bathroom on a fractured hip sucks. Ooh. Fortunately, I don't have that. I have like the head congestion nastiness. Max says, who bought the rights to the millionth and made you sign an NDA? LOL. You'll find out soon, April 5th. Harlan says, not sure anyone here uses Mercari, but they announced this morning that they are eliminating the selling fee effective today. They are moving the fee to the buyer's end. Interesting. So I don't do anything on Mercari. What are your thoughts? I guess if you sell on Mercari, what are your thoughts on that as a seller? Do you think that will adversely impact your sales? And do you think it'll benefit? I'm curious. JG says the 1960 Fleer Cap Anson ends in a day. I do have one of those. Probably have a few of those. Max says, did you see the part where buyers can return for any reason? They pissed off buyers and sellers in one foul swoop. I did not. I only looked at the email, hadn't dug into the details yet. Haven't buyers always been able to return on Mercari within 3 days? Brian Bourne wants to know what site. The last site, this site is Heritage Auctions, HA.com. The previous one that I was looking at was Robert Edward Auctions, which I think is just REA. Other auction houses, of course, Golden, Hunt Auctions. What else is there? I think there's Colorado one. The ones I follow closest are Heritage and REA. Those are the ones that usually have a lot of pre-war that I'm looking at. Hey, speaking of pre-war, I'm going to show off some cards. I picked these up on Twitter, actually. And I got these pre-war collector, Anson. Pre-war collector on Twitter, has some great Twitter sales. He had some strip cards, and they were like $10 a piece. I think one of these was $20. I think the Charlie Holliker, it's in the best condition. I think I paid $20 for this. These are from, I believe, the late teens, early 20s. This is Bill Killifer. I paid $10 for this. I mean, $10 for an authentic, even though it's massively trimmed and beat up, it's still an original, and it goes in the collection. It counts. And Leslie Mann. Took some bites out of Leslie Mann. I paid $10. I think I paid $40 total, $20 for the Holliker, and $10 each for the last two. So those are new in the Cubs collection. I also got this in the mail during my spring training trip. Adon Sanchez, orange sapphire, numbered out of 75, non-auto. I think I paid like $5 for this. That does not look like Leslie Mann. Right, different Leslie Mann. Yeah, 100 years apart. And then, while I was at spring training, we were going to go to the spring breakout prospect game between the White Sox and Cubs at Sloan Park. It was cold. It was raining. And it eventually got rained out. But now I was tailgating, so I missed. I didn't go into the game, and I think I went to my hotel room to get a hoodie or something, and the gates were locked. So you either got locked in or locked out for a period of time. And thank you, Orlando. We'll get to that. I'm going to check that out. But they were giving out packs, and I didn't know this. If I would have known this, I would have been in line. They were giving out basically team sets of spring breakout prospects. And essentially like one player was one team was represented in the set. So the Cubs had Pete Crow Armstrong, spring breakout. These are made by Choice. And so my buddy Crawley gave me we're in the under the concourse, and he's like, "Here, don't say I never did anything for you." That was after he hit me in the nuts with a baseball bat the night before, 2 days before. So Pete Crow Armstrong represented. That's it. And then also I did not really a trade, but the second night I was down at spring training. The second night, let me see. That. Was that? I thought there was some more. Maybe it was just those. By the way, I've been using the Hobby Defense over in the back corner. That's the backpack that goes with this case. And I've got my Club 400 sticker, my Card Dealer Pro, Hobby Defense case. Open it up, and I've got slabs and top loaders. These are just my Cubs. These are my better Cubs cards. Some I took to trade, potentially down to spring training. Some I just took to show off. So Ethan and I kind of have this, like Ethan Roberts, pitcher for the Cubs. We kind of have this, like we kind of trade. But it's kind of like, remember when you're kids and like growing up, I had a couple friends that were dropped on their heads when they were babies and became Cardinals fans. So I didn't want Cardinals cards. They didn't want Cubs cards. So we just had like, eventually when prices didn't matter, when we first started collecting, prices mattered. We'd open a pack of 89 score. We'd immediately go to the Beckett. Oh my God, this Jose Canseco cards were 75 cents. The pack was only 40 cents. But then we learned when you went to the local card shop and you tried to sell the Jose Canseco card for 75 cents, and the local card shop owner was like, I'll give you a quarter, kid. And told us he had to keep the lights on and pay rent and all that stuff. And so we didn't understand. We just thought he was trying to rip us off. So after that phase, when we didn't really care about looking at the Beckett and the prices, we would do these trades. Like my friend Chuck, whenever he had Cubs cards, he's like, here's a pile of Cubs cards. And when I had a pile of Cardinals cards, here's a pile of Cardinals cards for Chuck. So we do that. So that's what Ethan and I do. And so I brought some. I'm trying to push him into vintage. He's like dipped his toes into the vintage water, and I'm trying to like push him in gently. And so he's an Ernie guy. Like, who isn't a Cubs fan? Who's not an Ernie Banks guy? So I had a bunch of like vintage dupes of Ernie Banks. So I brought those out there for him. And so he gave me, so we don't like plan this. It's not like, hey, I've got some Cubs for you. Hey, I've got some Ernie Banks for you. It's just like, we just bring cards like, hey, here you go. Here you go. So he gave me a Bowman's Best Christopher Morel rookie card. I think he gave me more than like, there should be more. There's a few more cards. I just couldn't find them. They're in that case somewhere. Chris Bryant Clubhouse Collection relic. Jackson Wiggins first Chrome Sapphire. And Justin Steele Easter Bunny short print. See the little Easter bunnies. So very cool. And then there were some other ones in there that are in there somewhere. So that was our trade. Some of the latest Cubs cards to my collection. Getting close to 1 million. Orlando says Heritage ended 1887. Allen and Ginter Anson 5K for the PSA 1.5. Also 1888 Goodwin Champions. PSA 1 sold for 6. Okay, interesting. So 6K for the PSA 1. So I was actually one of my dealers who deals in pre-war several months ago wanted to go halvesies on, I think it was a Heritage auction. It was a lot of Goodwin Champions, and they were all slabbed authentic. And so we were basically going to split it, and then I would get the Anson, but then I'm like doing the math. I'm like, I don't like that math. And it ended up selling for like way above what we expected it to sell for. So it's interesting that Anson PSA 1 only sold for 6K. So there was an auction house they had 2 Ansons. And I think they were Ginters. One was a PSA or SGC 7, and one was a 1 or a 1.5. And so that was, and I wonder if I can find, because I did post it in a group chat. Let me see if I can just. I probably have the word Anson a lot in here. No. Okay, not gonna find it. So, but yeah. So I'm curious what that, and it was this month. I'll text my buddy Mark and see, because he's the one that showed it to me several weeks ago. And I remember it ending like around either when I was at spring break, either when I was at spring training or shortly after I got back, which is obviously around this time, end of March. So my 1 millionth Cubs card, it's coming soon. In fact, I can tell you when. Next Friday at Wrigley Field. I don't know what it's going to be though. I don't know what it's going to be. I just know where and when. So stay tuned. There's probably going to be some. should be some information coming out here in the next couple days about it. I've got a newspaper coming over tomorrow. I told my wife comes home from work and she's like, so what's new? And I'm like, well, tomorrow the Wisconsin State Journal's coming over. And she's like, I'm like, yeah, you don't have to be here. So I'm like, yeah, I'm like, they want to take photographs and all that stuff. And so I'm like, yes, I'll make sure the basement's clean. So Wisconsin State Journal is going to do something on the project. And Madison Card Show is this Saturday. So fun times. And it's like, man, once I get the 1 million, then what? Then what? But it really has, like, as I think about the then what, you know, I've kind of like put it on cruise control. Like it's just been like, it's not like it was, if you go to 1millioncubs.com, which I need to update, you know, early in the project, because I was at 100,000, 200, like I needed Cubs. If I want to hit my goal, I've got to get cards. And then all of a sudden, once I hit 900,000, it was like, holy crap, I need to slow this down. And I'm turning cards away left and right. You know, I've had multiple people here recently. They're like, hey, I've got enough to put you over. And it's like, I know, I don't need any more. I'm going to get there. So I'll probably pick up some this Saturday. We'll see what I decide on doing for Saturday. So, and then it's like for the national, it's like now that I already have the 1 million, that it was kind of like the culmination was going to be at the national last year, but that was the plan a couple years ago. Like, hey, based on my tracking, I'm going to hit 1 million in July of 2023. That's the national in Chicago. But then I started selling cards full time, and buying Cubs cards kind of was on the back burner for a little bit. And, you know, didn't get there. But at then all of a sudden I get to like 970,000. It's like, holy crap, I could like probably get there today, but I'm not prepared for it because I wanted there to be a buildup. I didn't want to just open the mailbox and say, hey, I did it. Here's 1 million. We're done. Like there's got to be this is almost a 7-year project. There's got to be this buildup. And so have been able to do that here over the last couple months in preparation for the 1,000,000th. And then the guy that Sean that works at the post office I can finally tell him, because every time I go with my yellow card and he's like, are you there yet? And I'm like, nope, 900,000, 950,000. Jeez, I thought you would have been there years ago. It's like, do you know how many cards 1 million is? So speaking of that was a question brought up. Speaking of post office and yellow cards, and I've heard this come up, you know, often, especially if you're running your own business. People ask, you know, should I open a PO box? And that's something that I did early on in the 1 Million Cubs project. It's like my wife's like, I don't really want you giving our home address out to complete strangers off the internet. And I'm like, that's fair. That's fair. So I can get a post office box. Now, unfortunately, I didn't get the smallest one, but I've had this post office box for like 6 years and I don't want to downgrade it. So if you are, it's like your cell phone number. It's like, I can't change my number now. I've had it for 20 years. That's kind of where I am with my post office box. I don't have the biggest one. That's what she said, but I don't have the smallest one. So, so if you are like doing eBay and like, if you're just doing stuff here and there, but like if it is a concern, like I definitely recommend getting a PO box. Get the smallest one, because if you get a box, say a long box like this, and it doesn't fit in your small PO box, they will put a yellow card in your mailbox and say, hey, you have a package that's too big for your box. Come pick it up at the front desk. Sometimes they have a key, depends on the post office. Like my post, the annoying part about my post office is it's locked after hours. Like you can't get in. Like I can't even check my mailbox if the post office is closed. That's kind of an annoyance. But again, It is what it is, and I'm not going to change it. Not now. And like, I don't need anything that bad. Like, if anything's coming to the mail box, I don't need it. So that's my, and sometimes growing up in Anawan, we got yellow cards, but then we also, I think if it was like after hours or like on a weekend, they would give you a key to a bigger box. Like if it fit into a bigger box, here's the key to this box. There's your package. 2 million, John and Endostemic is not going to be, I actually joked to my wife recently, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know if she's like, well, then what are you going to do? I'm like, and I think, well, what am I going to do? 2 million. And she just gave me the death glare. And no, I do not have any interest in collecting 2 million Cubs cards. Will I continue collecting Cubs cards? Absolutely. I'm going to fill in needs. And I'm going to use, like the case that I have a lot of duplicates in there. I've got extra Justin Steele first chrome autos, Christopher Morel chrome autos. Like, I've got duplicates of stuff that's tradable for stuff that I don't have. So that's where it'll come in handy. Cooter says, if the Cubs don't have you throw out the first pitch, they are idiots. God, I hope they don't let you sing. I'd rather sing than throw out the first pitch. Sammy Sosa going to give you his upper deck rookie at Wrigley. Well, he's in a what? Sammy Sosa here to present you your 1 millionth Cubs card, a 1998 upper deck White Sox card. Sammy, no. Who's got a Cubs card? Sammy didn't follow the script. I need a Cubs card. Cody's in the house. What's going on? You should do a last 100 show. Show the last 100 cards to 1 million. Hey, that's a really good idea. Ooh, Cody's putting ideas in my head. That's a really good idea. That's a really good idea. I'm trying to think of the logistics here of how we're playing out this last week. I like it. I like it a lot. Cody's onto something. So yeah, next week's going to be a fun week. Fun week for the 1 Million Cubs project. So stay tuned. Stay tuned. That's what I had for today. Hit the like button if you haven't already. We went a full 53 minutes without hitting the mute button, but we did have to blow our nose a couple times. Topps Big League. Today is release day. It'll be on my doorstep, hopefully around lunchtime. I'll come on and do a live, like maybe 5 packs. We'll do 5 packs just to show you what the product looks like, just a quick break. And then I'm going to rip the rest just on the floor like I do. And I will get those ripped and flipped. And hopefully tonight I'll have some of the first cards, any hits. I'll probably kind of the way that I handled Flagship. I'll get everything ripped. I'll list like the hits first, and then I'll go into sort mode and start listing the singles. At Sports Cards, does anyone want in on fantasy? I think he's running a fantasy baseball league for Hobby Evolution. I think, I'm not sure. Bronco says, what do you plan to do with the 1 millionth card? Will it be displayed by itself, or will you frame it with pictures of whatever your day at Wrigley is like? Ooh, this is another good idea. I don't know, because I don't know what it's going to be. It depends on what it is. It depends on what the 1 millionth is going to be, because I honestly don't know what the 1 millionth card is going to be. And I like surprises. Like, I'm going in, like, my wife is the ultimate planner, and she's like, okay, so what? I'm like, and I received an itinerary yesterday. I'm like, so here's kind of, and she's like, well, what are we doing this time to this time? I'm like, I don't know. It's like, well, can you ask? I'm like, they don't know either. She's like, well, I'm like, we're going to be there. Like, it's going to be okay. Like, I like surprises. Like, I just like to go with the flow. Like, I don't care. Like, what are you doing tomorrow? I don't know. That's why Brian asked me, he's like, hey, do you want to go to the Cubs Brewers game on May 27th? I'm like, fuck, I don't know. I don't plan that far in advance. And I just talked about that. Like, I don't buy, like, when the tickets go on sale, like I cost myself money by doing this, by not planning, but I just don't like to plan, because then I feel tied to, like, well, what if I don't want to go that day? What if it's cold? I don't want to go. So I don't plan. So I will definitely do something. It just kind of depends on what it is. So that is for the Hobby Evolution Fantasy Baseball. Only 3. So if you, I would say at this point, I guess there's still a couple days left until the real opening day, with the exception of the first couple games that were played this week. Hobby Evolution Facebook group. Check it out. If you're not a member, join. A lot of good discussion going on. Just type in Hobby Evolution in the search bar on Facebook, and we'll get you added into the group. And if you want to play fantasy baseball, I think there's a thread. There should be a thread. I think there's a thread. If there's a thread, let him know. I don't even know what your name is. What's your name? It's Sports Cards. Let him know if you're in for fantasy baseball this year. Alrighty. So I'm going to wrap it up. You too. Todd. His name is Todd. So have a good day. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, visit my eBay store. I'll go live at some point this afternoon with a few packs to break. Topps Big League. Harlan says get a 33 Gaudy Hack Wilson. That's actually on my list. That's a card that's on my list. It is a great looking card. I think one of my dealers, Tony, who will be at the Madison Card Show this Saturday, I think Tony might have the 33 Gaudy Hack Wilson. So I might reach out to him. Thank you, Orlando. 6 likes to go. Thank you very much. Have a great day. We made it an hour earlier than yesterday. Maybe we can be back at a regular scheduled time tomorrow morning. Hopefully. I'm out of NyQuil. I think that was night 4 of taking NyQuil. So hopefully I don't need any more NyQuil. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.